Charlie, you've suggested that the 21st century New Testament is easier to read. In what ways?
To start with, it's all in conversational English, our heart language. It's the language we speak and the language we understand. And on top of that, a lot of translations focus on the words, and you will see some of them that italicize where they've had to add a word in. And what I did was understand the idea that the author was trying to communicate and then say, how can I communicate that in conversational English so that people will get it and understand it? On top of that, you know all those long names that nobody can pronounce? Well, wherever possible, and in by far the most cases, I moved those long names into the footnotes, whether it was names of people or names of places. I wanted you to be able to read the message, get the message without hesitating over difficult to pronounce names that didn't really matter. On top of that, the average English translation is in what one English translator called Biblish. It's a language in which even the most common words are words that we don't use in our culture today very often. And it's like it gives us a whole new language to learn if we want to learn about Christianity. I only used our common conversational English words. Wherever I presented a word, I wanted it to be a word that people would get right away, because that's the way the New Testament was done originally. It was in the language of the marketplace. I wanted a New Testament in English that was in the language of the marketplace.
Beside aids to reading, what else is better?
Well, to start with, the arrangement of the gospel message. That's the message of Jesus' life and teachings. In the traditional translation, you have 4 books that started out, and each one of those tells the story of Jesus' life and teachings from a particular perspective. And the average reader, when he starts reading the New Testament, may read all the way through the first one and part way through the second one and say, this is the same stuff, I don't need this over again. And I wanted people to be able to get the whole message, so I took the Greek and blended the account of all 4 New Testament books into one account, so that a person could pick that one account and read everything about Jesus' life and teachings and get the whole message. Everything from all 4 is just that one simple read in conversational English.
Is the information in the blended Gospels in chronological order?
I wish it could be. Anybody who is very familiar with the Gospels would know that that would be impossible to get it all in chronological order. The early part, from the time Christ was born until the time he started calling permanent followers, that part can all be chronological, and in my translation it is. And then the latter part, where Jesus is getting close to the crucifixion, making preparations to be crucified, and then is crucified, resurrected, and ascends to heaven, all of that can be in chronological order, and it is. But in the middle, there's a great deal of teaching, miracles, parables, or teaching stories, and the events that Jesus experienced. Those are categorized by topic. So I've got all the miracles together, all the teachings together, all the stories that have a message put together, and all the events put together, so that you get the topic and can finish the whole topic and get a real perspective in each one of those areas. And it's a flow that holds your interest. You really feel like you've got the story once you get through it.
Is that all, or is there more to improve the reading experience?
Well, in our last interview, I talked about a businessman in a motel room with 4 walls and 200 channels and nothing he wanted to watch. And he picks up a New Testament and gets to the first page, and it's a bunch of names. In my translation, that has been moved to the 10th chapter so that you don't get it right at the first, and it has been simplified to say Jesus was from Abraham and the great King David from the tribe of Judah, as predicted in the Jewish sacred writings. Footnote: for the whole genealogy and how it all works, look at the glossary article. It'll tell you the whole story. All those names are there if you want them. you don't need to deal with them. We've been talking about the 21st century New Testament. There is a website, ncm-21.com, and that website gives way more information about this translation. It provides the glossary article, the entire glossary articles. All of those are in that website, easily searchable, and some links to where you can purchase the New Testament. So I encourage you to go to the website, ncm-21.com. That's for New Century Ministries, 21 for the new 21st century. And find the links, study it, get your own copy, and really get to be part of God's teams.